Okay. So I'll share my screen. All right. So I actually brought out this question so that we look into them together before going into those ranking functions. We'll still be coming back to SQL once in a while because what we'll be doing is we are going to connect a set to our database and be pulling some out. I'm going to show you how to do that. Then sometimes too, before we do our analysis, we can just pull data from our database and you can see my screen now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've even forgotten how I used to hide all this stuff. No, there's one. That's Control H. So I don't know. I've forgotten how to. So let's start with some of these questions. I will just be taking one of them one after the other. So that way we cover more grounds. So this one says, show me a list of customers and the last date. Can anyone try? Let someone try because we've done this before. I just wanted to do it as a reminder, like to refresh our mind. Can anyone try the attempt the question?
Okay.
I'm coming. Okay, I've been able to. So this one says, show me, we can write here. Let me bring the list of customers and the last orders. So let me bring out the schema. So we'll be able to see what we are doing. I think it was on the other database. Okay, so here is the schema. Show me a list of customers. So this is the customer database, then and the latest and the last date on which they placed orders. So we are going to move from here.
Okay.
Now.
I don't know. The other two persons, I don't know if they are still with us. I can't hear them. Hello? The other two persons, I don't know.
Hello.
Okay, yeah. Good evening.
Good
We
evening,
want,
sir.
yeah, welcome. We want to attempt some of these questions together, still on subqueries, just a way of making our hands stronger. So the first one says, show me a list of customers and the last date on which they placed orders or another, whatever. So this is our customer table. This is the other table. We can trace it to. So can anyone try? We did it the last time, I think. We did it the last time.
I wasn't in the class last class.
Oh, we talked about subqueries. So we said subqueries. A subquery is just a query inside the query. So people call it nested queries. Others call it inner queries. You can also call it subquery, but they are just synonyms. They are just like different names for the same concept. So when we have a query that is carrying another query, we call it a subquery. We did some examples.
Yeah, I remember we did the nested query that we're doing the select from two tables. We did select in one table, we select in another table.
Yeah.
And what did we do again that day?
Yeah. So that was it. We did we talked about a column subquery and also a filtering subquery. So when we have a column subquery, we are actually just the way we have our column expressions, we are using the select statement to return a column. Then when we have the one where we are using to filter, or condition, we use it on the where clause. So that was it. That was what we discussed then. But we didn't get to do more examples because we still had a glitch that day. I think the meeting couldn't start on time. So by the time we started, I was already disoriented and I already had another plan. So my mind was not there. We didn't do so much. We introduced the
Yeah,
concept, but we didn't
even that
do so
day.
much. Yeah.
That day we were just trying to, you were trying to execute the query. Some things were
Yeah.
not, then you had to check again.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of effort.
Yeah. So it can be complex anyway. That's the software, it can be complex. So like for the sake of the person that didn't attend the last time, let's start. So now when we have this kind of query, we say, show me a list of customers and the last date on which they placed an order. This is simple. What we are asking for is show me customers. If we want to join this table because we have customers, we have orders, it's going to be difficult and almost impossible because I think people asked a question and I gave them a query and said they should go and try possibilities of them writing it otherwise, which is not using subqueries. So I don't know if they tried it, but there are some queries that you can't possibly write with joins and other querying tools you already have, except if you use subqueries. So this example is one of them. You can't possibly get this solution without writing subqueries. And why we are spending a lot of time on select is that's where once you learn select, every other like delete, if you want to delete, you still use the same logic you use in select. In fact, most times you have to select before deleting. Is a good practice. You don't just delete, you have to select first. Then be sure that it returns the result set you're looking for before you execute delete. Because once you execute delete, it becomes you can't return it. So you just learn select and remove that select keyword, replace it with delete. It will give you exactly what you want. Same thing with updates. Updating, once you know how to, because we can insert into a table, we can change the record, we can also delete them. So now for subqueries, if we say we should give me customers and the last date they placed order, so these are the two relating tables, and we know how we have been using our relationship. In fact,
Wait,
once you're
sir.
dealing with, okay.
Is it only me? I can't see your screen. No, I can't see the screen. Is it only me?
I don't know. Cannot I see my screen?
No, it's
You can see
showing.
it. Okay, you can see it.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's probably because of your network.
Okay.
Yeah. So others are seeing it. So to get that, we know, like I said, it's a bit, I don't know, maybe someone can come up with a solution later, or which I don't know. But for me, I've not seen a way of writing this kind of query where we show a list of customers and the last dates of because from here, we are picking some stuff from this other table, not all, but the last day. So we are going to be using one of our, what do we call them? We call them something functions then. I've forgotten the name. But we use them to summarize. So to do this, we are going to do select. I would have loved if anyone can help us, but since nobody's coming first, so we are going to do select. We want to select customers, so we can just pick as many informations as we want from here. We can just say select customers dot ID. Oh, we are not on the database. That's the sales orders, right? So we say select customers. If you didn't get it the other day, try and get it today. Customer ID.
Can I ask a question, please?
Okay.
With this, all these functions, how are we going to be to remember all these functions when we are inputting them into the maybe any kind of query we want to be dealing with? Because
Okay.
under this topic now, we have another logic of writing it. the one we are doing before. We have another way of writing it. You understand? So, like maybe if somebody wanted to take this as a recourse, maybe to use it to get a job, is this way they are going to be giving us the queries to solve, or this is just like illustration for us to understand how to go about it?
Like now, if you work for a business, they will have a business problem, such as this. You understand? So it depends on the business problem. Like mostly a company or whatever designs a web application or an e-commerce site, which will be generating data and storing in their database. So most of the guys that design the database or the engineers that design the application might not be interested in checking how many persons placed order, who placed order, or whatever. Their interest is just for the platform to be running. They have a lot of worries. So if they employ the services of a data analyst, you now solve according to the business problem. Like in this case now, there could be a reason why we need to see customers and the last day they placed order. We can say people that have not placed orders since last year, because as long as you have a record in your database, especially if you're running the database uh, on cloud, you should be paying for all those records. Like monthly, you keep paying for all those records. So a business can decide to say all those people that have not placed an order since this year should be deleted from our database to save costs. So that way you'll be asked to put this kind of data. So it's not like they are going to ask you exactly this kind of question. So what I'm trying to do is to just give you enough to you can interpret them and know how best to go about it. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So that's it. All the functions available in SQL, there are too many, but I know enough to solve my own problem. For you to remember those functions or all those things, you just need to keep coming close. It's not something you learn once and forget. There are so many things I'm yet to learn. There are also some that I learned that were because of lack of usage, I started forgetting them. You understand? But if you've had it the first time and know how it works, it's very, very easy for you to come back and get it back. So that's just it. It depends on the business problem. Once you're asked a question, you interpret it and know how best to go about. It's not just like they ask you to do this and you run immediately, you have the solution. You still spend time, think about it, know what's going to do the job for you. Sometimes but I don't want us to go that advanced. So that's just it. The way to remember them is to keep practicing with them. It's not, there's no other way. It's just to keep practicing. Even now, if you leave these ones we are doing, you definitely forget them. So, like what we are saying, the question says, show me a list of customers and the last date on which they placed an order. So to do that, we know we are going to pick details for customers. So we might not really need the customer street and whatever. If you want, you can include them, zip code. So we are going to pick the customer's details. And I think for me, customer's ID is always sufficient for me. So I can pick customer ID, but let's have customer's first name, customer's last name. If you want to use one of those functions that I like you to be using, we can use a plus. This is concatenation. We all know how to do this. So we can use all of this to make this just we can just say as name. So it appears as name on the column. So we are going to select this, but we are looking for the last day they placed an order. So in this way, in this case, we are going to, to get the last day someone placed an order, you are going to pick all the, let me just show you something. I'm coming. So I'm going to do select asterisk from customers. Then I'll do select asterisk from others, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So if we do this, you know that a, a customer can place as many orders as he wants from what we already know. So if you inspect this, you find out that uh, to each customer is represented by a customer ID here, right? So you find out that other number, this is for, okay, these are the customer IDs. If you go through them, you find out that we have some repeating customer IDs like 1017, 1017. That means this customer placed another. He placed another in some other dates on dates 0509, etc. So if you go through it, you see that we have duplicates. So, but we are not looking for a customer that have placed another. We are looking for the last date they placed another. So for you to do that, we need an aggregate function, and that aggregate function is just going to get us the max. The max, max is the biggest. That's the biggest of all. Like if we are looking for the max of a date, we are looking for the biggest date, and of course we know today's date is bigger than yesterday's date. If we look at it, because today is 14th, yesterday was 10th, was 13th. So if you like, this is also another set. I don't really. Date is also another set, such that a date after is bigger than the other one. So if you're looking for the maximum for this particular customer, this one is customer 1020. So he placed another on 6th and placed another on 7th. So if we are looking for the max of them, that means we are looking for the latest date he placed another, right? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. So in that case, we are going to say max. We are going to say select. Watch what I'm going to do. If we are using join, if we use join to join these two things, we are going to get, okay, let me make an illustration so that we see what I am trying to say. Others dot, why is this not giving me intelligence? So let's have this. I want to show you a problem so that we'll solve that problem. Others dot, other dates. So this is not going to work. So for us to put that means we are going to select the maximum dates for this customer, and we can actually embed a select statement here by using a select. Just ask your question. We've done this class before by saying select max. I think that max is going to give us the maximum date now. Other dots, other dates. Not giving me intelligence. Others. That's other dates.
Oh.
Others, that's other dates from others. Where? So if we run this, I want to show you a problem from customers. If we run this, you know what this is going to do? Look at this now. Let me, okay, we've not closed this. Look at this now. If you look at this very well, you see that this is a select statement, but it's serving us as a column. So what's happening here? This select statement selects the maximum order dates. That's the latest order anyone placed from order table and joins it here. Do we have confusions? You are being kind of quiet. Do you understand this? So this is not the correct distance, because if we want to get it correctly, we need to tie this, but I want to see if I can make it a bit simpler. So looking at this now, I told you we are dealing with subqueries. So this is a select statement inside a select statement. What's this? So this one is a select statement inside this outer select statement. So that's why some people call it inner query, others call it subqueries. Some also call it nested query. So this is nested inside this query. This is an outer query, and this query is surviving right inside this query. So if we execute this, okay. If we execute this, it's because of that this thing. It returns some result sets, right? Are we with me? Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is a select statement on its own, a full-fledged select statement, but we are embedding it inside another select statement. So that gives us what they call subqueries. This is a select statement. But now, this is selecting the maximum. That's the last order that was placed by anybody. If we want to make sure we want to tie this to this customer, we'll say what? We use a where clause. We say where orders dot customer ID is equal to customers dot customer ID. Customers dot customer ID. So this way, we are now tying for each of the rows. This is a column. How many columns do we have here? Sorry.
Column.
How many columns do we have here in this query?
1, 2, 3.
So we have 3, right?
Yes.
This is the first one. The whole of this is the second one. Then this our select statement is the third one. So this way, this is simply serving us to return, like the whole of this place, starting from here to this point, is serving us to return a column, which is last order date. If we run this, why? What was? So if we run this, you find out for each of this, now we don't have repeating distance. So for each of the customers, it returns the last order date. Right? And we call it last order date or whatever we decide to call it. So this one is a column expression. So instead of writing the way we wrote this column expression to return one column name, is the same way we can write a subquery to return one column, which is last name. So this is just serving us as a column. So we call this kind of subquery a column subquery because it returns a column. So that solves this problem for us. So for each of okay.
The screen has gone off.
My screen, you can't see my screen.
It's at the back of our Zoom.
The back, you can't see my screen.
No.
On the phone, that's the problem with the handset.
Okay, you're using a phone.
No, I'm not using phone.
It could be network, but others see my screen. Someone wanted to ask a question.
Yes, sir, it's me.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, so where we are actually doing this, where we are using this condition of orders dot customer ID equals customers dot customer ID. What are we trying to do here? Because I know it is when we were trying to do the joining, when we're joining tables, that we use a command like this.
Yeah. We will also be using it now. Now, here is why we are using it. Remember, the question we are trying to solve says, show me a list of customers and the last dates. So for each of the customers, we list customer ID, customer dot first name or whatever. We want to tie a corresponding, because if relationships in a relational database is all that matters. Like you can't do without relationships if you want to start writing advanced queries. So we want to tie, we are selecting max. If we remove this condition, it will just return the last order dates. Like it will apply this max order dates on on the whole resource set, find out the last order dates. So if we run this query, let's run this query now. You see, if we run this query now, it's giving us the latest order date, which is 0 first, 0 to 2, whatever. For each of them. But if we tie that condition, let's say Control Z, if we tie this condition now, what we are doing here is that we are saying, I'm coming. We are saying for each result you're returning, make sure it is returning the last order dates for this customer that's corresponding to this customer. So what we are using to tie it is still the relationship, because the way to a customer is related to order is this customer ID. So we are also using that. I don't know if you understood what I'm trying to explain. A customer, for there to be an order, there's a customer, right? So we are now saying for each of the customers, give me the latest order dates. If we don't use this condition to relate that latest order dates, then it won't be returning for each of the, we have, I don't know if you got, this is what we have. A customer places many orders, but we are looking for the last order dates. This customer 101 placed an order on 12th. Customer 101 placed an order on C12th, right? So we are just looking for the last day 101 placed an order. I don't know if that clears your question. Hello?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah. So you understand why we are using this stuff? Okay. So once you do more practices, you should be able to catch up. Just practice on your own.
From the question,
Okay.
you can easily understand from our question. Let's go back to the question. You say, show me list of customers and last date which place an order. You definitely know, you are seeing that from the question. It's showing that two tables are being connected. So
Yeah.
that relationship, the place where you say where orders dot customer ID equals customers dot customer ID. That is the
Yeah.
relationship between the two tables. Two tables are involved from our
Yeah.
from our question in the beginning. So you
Yeah.
should take note about that. Definitely it means that we need to be working with two tables.
Yeah, two tables. So a customer another has a customer that placed it. There's no order that was just placed by no one. So that's it. So basically what this part is doing for us is just a column expression, but in this case it's a query on its own. Like I showed you, the query can actually survive on its own without needing the other one. So once we embed queries like that, we have a subquery. So let's go to the next one. This one says list customers and all the details from their last order. This is a bit tricky because this is customers and all the details from their last order. So you see, for this, we have a column expression. We just needed the last order dates. So we can write a select statement to return the last order dates. But if we need more, because this one says all the details from their last orders, which means we are having a, why is this not? Which means we are having more than one column to return in this order. We will return this, we'll return this, we'll return this. We could actually decide to still use a column expression, writing a select statement to return all these details. But you know that gets messy real fast, because that means we are going to write another select statement here to return one of these, write another select statement to return one of the other. So what we can do is to just do what? Use our join and now use condition to ensure we are on the last order date. So let me still pick this as we progress. So this is this question. In this case, I don't know if you got the question. Return customers, all customers and their last order dates. So that means we are going to pick details like we picked from customers and also pick details from the order table. So that way I can just come and copy this, right? And place here. Then continue. So customers.customer ID, customers dot whatever. And we still need, what do we need again? We'll come to orders and say orders dot orders dot we can decide to give details of the employee that handled it, but let's start from order number because this is the primary key for that table. Orders dot order date. The date this was ordered, orders dot we can decide to the date it was shipped. So we can now say orders dot, we can pick as many informations as we want from there. Orders dot maybe you can decide to pick the employee that's handled them. So from what we know, how many tables are involved? Where are we picking this? We are going to say from where? From where? You can unmute and be part of this class. We've done we've solved this problem before. So we're going to say from what? Customers now.
Yeah, from customers.
Yeah. So customer is settled. Customer is the table is settled, but we are still having some red squiggly this thing here. So what else are we supposed to do?
Join.
Dot.
Join.
We are going to join. Because we are seeing customer table involved and other table involved, so we are going to use a join. So join others. But if we are doing join, we know we are still going to use our relationship, right?
Definitely.
Customers dot customer ID. The relationship is customer ID now.
Yes, sir. Customer ID.
So with this, we see that we've successfully joined these two tables, right?
Yes, sir.
We now have this, but we are not having their last order dates. So if we want the results returned to be on the last order date, that means we are going to involve a filter, which is just a where. We'll now put our where clause and say where what orders dot order dates, because we are looking for the last list customers
date.
and all the details from their last. So where order dot order dates, and we are only picking the list of their order dates. So here we are still going to use the select statement. Select orders dot. Okay, yeah, select max. So max is going to give us the latest orders for each of them. Max orders dot order dates. Where are we picking that stuff? Where are we picking that?
From orders.
From orders. Now, if we run this again, what's going to happen? Because we want to tie, max order dot order date, because we want to tie it to the corresponding customer, we are still going to apply a filter here. If we do this, the query is not wrong. It will give us some results, but I think only one row is going to be qualified. So if we want to do that, because it's going to give us that kind of result, it's going to locate the last order dates for each of them and return. So in this case, we are going to say we are still going to use our, what's really, okay, you can. So okay. So we are going to use our where our customers, we can use any of them, orders dot customer ID is equal to customers dot customer ID. So
you made a
okay,
mistake. Where after max, it should be orders dot order date, not order number.
Okay. Thank you for that. Order dates. So I don't know if we're not following. Let's ask questions. This way, what we are doing is we've just written our join, but we just want to see for each individual, this n now, this is a query that is going to return a result set, right?
Yeah.
It's a query, it survives on its own, but because we have not used this, it's just picking the last order dates for each of them. But if we say where order dot customer ID is equal to customer dot customer ID, it means it's going to return a list of this thing for each of the, it's going to return a list of order dates for each of the users. So that's why we are applying this. The same thing we did there, we did it here. So this query on its own is going to return a result set, not just a single result. And we are saying where order date is in this result set. So that means it's only going to return when order date is in this list. If it's not in that list, it will leave it out. So that way, what we have is for each of them is going to return. We won't have any repeated order. It's going to return details for each of the customers on the last order date. Do we have a question?
No duplicate also.
No, if you don't have a duplicate, because it's just giving us the last order date.
The exact matching of the order date, yeah.
Yeah. So do we understand this one? Why is it a subquery? Because we have a select statement inside a select statement. So this select statement is part of that select statement. If we understand this, let's say so I can do more. Because I don't know, you can unmute. Let me be sure we are together.
I'm okay with this.
Okay, he left. I think he was the one asking questions. So for the ladies, you can ask questions if it's sounding like foreign to you. We always slow down, and I think the way we've been doing this is just that we are building on what we already know. We started with select, where we used to select asterisks. Now we've learned join. We are now using join, column expression. So if you have a question anywhere you don't really understand, you ask. All right, so list all customers and his last orders. We can do this on that our illustration database. Anyone can do that if you want. Okay, now for the ladies, can anyone try this? Just try. I'm going to use our database we know. So list customers and their last order dates. We've solved this problem. We've solved exactly this problem. So how can we do that? I am going to give you do you have a schema for that? So I'm going to give you the schema for this. So you are able. This is what we have in our that database we created. This is what we have. Let me bring it down. So this is what we have. I'm going to display it for us to see. How do I locate you? So can anyone try? Can anyone try from the ladies?
Can we go back there?
Okay, I'm coming. Let me give you the schema. Where are you? Sorry, I'm taking your time. Okay, so we have this, and we have this. All right, so try with this now. So select the list of customers. This is users. Okay, we are using users. Yes,
the one we have here is users and others.
Yeah, you can do that for users. It's the same thing. So
okay. Select users name name.
Okay. Do we have username here?
No, first name. User.first name.
To be sure everything is unique, because our uniqueness is here. It's possible we have people having exactly the same name. So if you remember when we were enforcing our when we are creating database, we talked about ID columns. We said that our primary key is always our ID column. So to be sure we don't have two people with the same name. In our case, in the case of our database, we don't have such scenario, but to be sure, always use that.
Okay.
Is this the database? Users. Okay, users dots. All
User
right.
ID.
Okay. So what next?
Then users first name.
Okay. Users dots. First
First name.
name. Okay, this is the error. Okay, so what next? Users dots.
Last name.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay, users.
They have last name, they have other name.
We have other name. All right,
So
let's
that's
continue.
all.
Let's leave it there. Let's leave it there. But then you can still write it in the other way we used to write it. We used to use a function to return two names and the other if we don't have up to three names. So we have this, right? I continue now. We said list of users and his or her last order dates.
Dates.
Mm.
Then
It's going to look like what we did first.
The SQL select statement.
So can anyone help her so that we don't spend all our
from
time?
users.
Okay. You want me to have from users. You know, we are picking users, not with this now. We are fine. You have done what we asked. We are just returning users. But we are saying for each of these users, you know, if we select if we select from other tables, right? If we select asterisks from other table, others,
Which also
we find out
from
that user one, user two placed another, user six placed another. This is user six, and user two has also placed two more others here. But we are not interested in all the others they have placed. We are interested in the last order dates. So that's what the question is saying. You read the question, list all users and his last order dates. So how do we
we go directly, we write the select statement now, which will give us the column for the order date.
So we do this. Just watch what we are going to do so that you now see where you were shocked. We now say what? So help.
Select
Select.
max.
Okay, so we are going to use our max function. Max.
Order dot order date.
Order dates. So now remember, if we are not having anything repeating, we can just not qualify them with all those distance.
So we
So
can
we can
use
say order dates
from orders.
Yeah. So max order dates from orders.
Then
Okay.
where orders is equals to where orders dot user ID. No.
It's not okay. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is equals
It's
to
equal.
users dot user ID. Yes.
So we can name this anything we like, right?
As last order date.
Last order date. So we can just name it like this and run the query. I don't know if you got what he did different from what we were doing. So this way, it's no longer returning all the orders. It's returning just for each. You see, there's no repetition because this guy has not placed any order. So it's returning null for him. These other guys too have not placed any order. It's returning null for them. So we don't have Michael twice, just like when we had the orders. In orders, it selected everything, but now we are picking them with their last order dates. Do you have a question or you're clear? Did you get what he did different from what you were doing?
Yeah, okay.
So if we clean it, you can attempt it.
I can try.
Okay, so try. Look at it again. What he did after from what you did, he simply added another column. This is another column, but this other column is picking the last order dates from the other table, which is orders. So try. Others can just watch. Maybe after her, some other person will try. That you failed it does not mean it's part of the learning.
The
You
same
failed it.
thing.
Okay, you say?
You're trying the same thing. Sorry, I came very late.
Yeah. We'll soon move to a more, after this and the next thing, we'll move to a more advanced query. So what do we do? You said you can try and I'll try.
Yes.
You can format it anyhow you want to. Now me, they do that one. So you do select.
Select max.
Max. Max what?
Select max order date.
Okay. From where?
From orders.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Then we'll go down again. Where?
Okay. Right.
Where?
Always remember the relationship. What is connecting them? User ID.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
user ID
Is equal
is
to
equal to
users dot user ID. So that's the relationship. If you want to rename it, you can just give it a name as we can say as Mila. Yeah. So with this now, we return exactly the same, but this column name now. So I'm glad you did it yourself. Can any other person attempt this other one? This other one is exactly the second last one I did. I'm going to say here too, because I'm going to send this query to us from illustration database. So from illustration database, someone should solve this problem. List all customers and details from their last
order.
Yeah. So
It's
this
still
one
the
now,
same.
is not the same thing. Look at this one. I say list customers and all details from their last order. So there was a way I solved it, different from when I said show a list of customers and the last order dates. So
this is the details from their last order. It's still the same thing.
Details. This one says list all customers and his or her last order dates. So you're going to give us customers and the last order date. So this select statement return the last order date for each of the customers, right? This other one is saying give me details. Okay. So this one includes inside the order, he wants the order date, he wants the order ID, the status of the order, the total amount. So can you try again? Let's go.
Right.
So this is fine.
Are we using same schema?
Yeah, we are in the same database, same schema.
Before let me support us more. Let me just highlight that.
Okay.
You know, this our second select statement gives us only one column. You need to have that in mind. So you need to know that there is no way for you to give the other columns using only that one select statement. So once you know that you automatically need to use a join to be able to solve this problem, because those other columns, those details now that's the joining will help you bring those columns, because when you're using your second select statement you won't be able to, it's only one column is going to give you. So you automatically you know already that you need to use something different, which is a join, to bring you those other columns, those other
Yeah.
rows.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Oh,
thank you for that. We could do
oh,
this for each of the columns we want to return, but it's going to be messy, and we are not looking for that. So try, or maybe let me
okay,
do
you
it so that we get
oh,
we get to the business of the day. Let's be a little fast. So we are going to do. I will do it and explain to you. We are going to do select. Uh, I can just say users dot user ID. So we'll be fast. We just need users dot user ID. Or again, let's do the complete stuff. So we can say users dot user ID. Then let me remind you again. We can say users. What did we do then? We used to use a this thing. Mm, users users dot first name plus
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 last yeah,
yeah plus
last name. Last name.
users dot last name plus is null. I want to remind us of this function. Is null users dot other name.
Oh yeah.
Then
Eh,
give us this as
last
as
name.
name. So worry about the what I did because we've done it before. You can worry about that later. So let's continue.
Then
Can we
we
forge
have
ahead? Okay, yeah. So let's say I wanted to do it so we can be a little bit faster. So we are going to go to others dots other dates, comma others dot I think I need
user
other
ID.
status others dot other ID because that's the primary key. I like to bring it first. Then other
Yes,
dot other dates others dot mm, what's the status? We can
that's it.
say others dot total amount.
Total amount.
Do we need others dot user ID? I'm asking just for. Do we need that?
No need for that. We're going to use that to join.
Okay. So why don't we need that?
Yeah, that is a good question. That I don't know why we don't need it, because for me, I think we don't need it because we are going to use it to show our relationship.
Okay. Do we have why we don't need it is if we put it there, we are going to have this user ID twice. We've already
Oh,
picked user ID here, and we know
so
this
there's
user
no.
ID is exactly yeah. So we can put it. It's not a sin, but users dot user ID. So we can put it, but I don't like that.
Is it
So from
user or
later,
other ID?
Other than user
okay,
ID.
other dot other ID, others dot other ID.
Is the
So we are
same
going
thing.
to just say, yeah, it's going to be something from users join. You know, whenever we say join, we mean outer inner join. Join
In a
others, yeah, users dot user ID equals others
dot user ID.
user ID. So with this now, we are having, okay, this is why we are having that problem. It's interpreting them as the same
query.
Yeah. We had that kind of problem last time. So this. You've done like with this now, we've been able to pull that and join them together. We are going to just have user ID, and they are going to be identical to because we already had it there. So now,
second statement.
Yeah. So what will now give us we'll say where others, we can just say other dates, or we can say other dates. Since they are not two, we can just use other dates is n, where other date is in the list of, we are just selecting the distance. So we are going to say select max, exactly what we did before. So I can go and copy that your inner query here and dump there. But we won't have this again because it's not a column. And this should be gone.
Yeah, that's it. It's okay.
Yeah. So while we are just covering this is so when we do this, what this query is selecting is just the match for all of them. So we are ensuring that it's only returning results where other date matches a value in the max. You know, this max returns some result sets. So anything that falls outside the max, the ones that we have placed previously for each of the users won't be returned. So that's that. We should be fine with this. We should be fine with this. So let me ask, why am I using this function? Why am I, okay, we shouldn't waste our time. We all know that. So we are fine with this, right?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. So for each of the users, it's simply return. You see those people that have not placed any order, it didn't return anything for them.
Why?
Because
Well,
yeah, they have not placed any order now, so there's no max, there's no minimum for them. So it's only the customers that have placed orders, and it's only picking their max. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. There's no repetition. We should be fine with this. So with that, let's do some interesting questions. This one says list all recipes that have a seafood. So we are going to go to our recipe database. This should be it. You know, recipe, they say list all recipes that have a seafood ingredient. So here. But remember, it's not saying we should list everything. We said just list recipes. So all we are interested in is recipes. So how do we go about it? Someone can start for me. We can just do select. Let me clean up this a bit. We start with our select. Select, we can use asterisk or whatever. Recipes. Okay, we are not there. Select recipes dots, recipe ID always to ensure recipes dot what? We can say recipes dot maybe we can just say the title as the name, comma. We can get more. So we can just do with these two, but if you want to have more, you can just say recipes. But instead of having more, you can just use asterisk if you want to have more. So select recipes, this that have a seafood ingredients. So in that case, we are going to say, for it to have a seafood ingredients, we are going to say where recipe.recipe ID exists here, right? where recipes dot recipe ID is n. Stop. I have my system. The keyboard is very large. If I want to type, my hand will keep touching it. This one I'm using. So that's why I'm struggling. So, for us to have, look at the relationship playing again. So where recipe ID is in what? We want to make sure it's in ingredient because this is our relationship now to relate. We are going to, is in what? Is in select. Stop now. That's my mouse doing that. My select, oh, recipe ingredients dot recipe ID from recipe ingredients. No, from recipe ingredients where I hope we are following. From recipe
We
ingredients
are
where
following, but
we
we
are
don't
going
have the
we are going
independent understanding.
that's why I'm asking if you're following now. Now,
We are following.
okay, let me finish so I'll explain to you.
Okay.
Where recipe ingredients dot ingredients ID is in select ingredients. I'm still following that relationship if you see what I'm doing. Ingredients dot uh ingredients ID from ingredients where, so we are saying seafood, right? Ingredient name. I think that ingredient name is in this class description. So we are still going to follow. Look at what I'm doing. If you watch, I said recipes.recipe ID is in. I'm making sure. Let me finish. Because
So when you
yeah.
are done with the comment, just all these comment, just break it into section or segments.
Okay, you understand it once I'm done. Where,
I'm trying to follow.
yeah, ingredients plus ID. Ingredients plus ID and select ingredients plus that's from that's ingredient class, right? Okay. So I know you are happy with this.
This like how
That's
many
done.
tables now?
We have many multiple joins. Why is this not? It's still complaining. Okay, we didn't include our from. Sorry. Recipes. Okay, so look at this. Look at what I did. This is what I'm doing. This query says we should just select all recipes that have a seafood ingredient. Let me run it to be sure it's returning there. Okay, yeah. So now I need the recipes that have seafood as ingredients. So to do that, we are going to all we need is recipes. So we are going to pick as many columns as we need from recipes. We can remove this and replace it with asterisks. So it gives us all the details from that recipes. So, but all we are picking is just recipes, right? We are just picking details from recipes. But once recipes that have ingredient class of seafood, that's the ingredient that has the ingredient seafood. So to do that, look at our relationship again. We know the relationship. We can't just assume, like we are confirming that this thing is seafood. So we can't just jump from this table to this table because there's no direct relationship between them. Just the way we did for the other one. You know, when we are writing those other queries, I needed you to understand it before we start writing complex queries. When we are writing those queries, we will come and say from our this thing where other dates in, we pick some select statements, right? So in this case now, it's exactly the same thing we are doing, but here we are picking recipes whose recipe ID are in this, right? To connect them, the way we used to use in on, we used to join on, we are going to say where recipe.recipe ID is in the list of this, because we are going to pick a list again. This one is returning the result set. So we are saying recipes.recipe ID, and we are going to select recipe.recipe ID. We are going to select ingredients dot recipe ID. So we want to filter out just where we have recipe IDs and ingredients ID. So ingredients ID is going to return some ingredients is going to recipe ingredients is going to return some recipes that have relationship to this. It's going to, not all of them, just the ones that have corresponding relationships to recipes are going to be returned. So that's why we are saying from recipe from this where recipes.recipe ID is in select ingredients.ingredient ID. So this alone gives us some result sets. But after this, we have not gotten to this. We want to still connect to this. So we are saying, this alone gives us some result sets. So it's going to return some result sets from here, but we want to filter further. So in order to filter further, we are still going to look for the relationship. What connects this table? We've moved, you see, from this table, this where clause gives us a relationship between this table and this table. To move further from this table, we are going to now filter for where recipe underscore recipe. So this one is a subquery to this one. So we are going to still say where recipe ingredient dot recipe ingredient ID in. But if we are moving to the next table, what we are going to select is this column from the other table. So if you watch, as I'm stepping into the next inner query, I am selecting ingredients.ingredient ID. The same thing I did for here. When I wanted to start, I looked for ingredients ID, and that is what I'm selecting in this other table, right? I'm moving from this to this. So what connects them is recipe ingredients. So that's what I'm looking for. As I'm moving further, someone's mic is on. As I'm moving further, I am going to look for what connects this table to this table. So what connects them is ingredient ID. I am going to use that ingredient ID to filter further. Someone's mic is on.
So no problem. I will check first what is my schedule. So inshallah I will do it. Okay.
I suspect this.
That's Mina.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know if we're following. Now, once we are here, in order to move further to this table, we are going to say where recipe ingredients dot recipe ingredient ID is in select, because we know when we select this column, it's going to return some columns that are related to this. So we are going to look for where this is in this. So we are going to say, I don't know if you get what I'm just doing. Recipe ingredient or recipe ingredient ID in
We are getting it, sir.
ingredient ID. Yeah, from
But
ingredients.
can we have a short test command that can give us the same result?
Yeah, there's another way of doing it, but it's not also short. We can use join. We can use join. We can start joining.
sir.
Yeah,
Can you help us to increase the
the fonts.
let me say
Okay.
it's too
Yeah, I just wanted
tiny.
it. Yeah,
Even
I
when
just
we are
wanted it.
rewatching the videos, everything is so
Yeah.
tiny.
Okay. It's because I'm managing my space.
Oh,
Yeah.
our eyes.
Sorry, have we uploaded the last classes, like 3 videos now?
I could not get that though. I
For
don't
the
know. I was
last one,
trying
you said
to.
you were the one that recorded it.
I recorded it, but my system, I think it's hung. So by the time I did the first restart, I didn't have access to that. But that's exactly the same class we are repeating. What we did before, what
Okay.
we were doing before is exactly the same class.
Sorry, sir.
So
What of the first 2 videos then, before the last one? What
I
of
That one
don't
is
them?
there.
really,
Yeah,
I don't know.
please.
I can't.
Because the
I
reason,
That
no,
one
it's
is
not.
there.
There was an admin to this platform. You understand? I'm not
okay,
the. Yeah,
The other
but this
one
one
is there. The two is
I
there.
recording locally.
okay. Because we are also using the video to build up some. So that's
Yeah.
the major reason.
Tomorrow,
Yeah,
hopefully, if I
Mr.
have
Mike
time, it's
sent
just that.
two.
Yeah, it's just that I've been very busy these days. I'll still do this thing. So what we are doing is we are diving deeper. This is sub queries, like from a query you're entering a nested query again. But what we are doing is just following what we used to know. So from ingredients, we want to now move from ingredients. Here is ingredients. If we want to move from ingredients to this table, we are going to say where ingredients class ID is in, we are going to select to return. So each of the queries return some sets. Like when you dive deeper up to the inner one, it will start unwinding from there. It's a beautiful thing. I love it. So the other way to do it is to use join. You do that. I will do an example that will do that. So from here, we are to move into where ingredients or ingredient class and select ingredient class dot ingredient class. So if you want to dive, you're using what they have in common from ingredients, where ingredient class dot ingredient description. That's our final. We are just looking for where this thing is seafood. So in order to return, anyone that doesn't have seafood should not be returned. So that's what we did. If you follow it religiously, you should be able to. If you try to write it on your own, rewatch this video. I'll send you these queries. You follow them. That day, I don't know what happened though. That they will for learn these things. But I just got here. I was not looking. That is even why I listed the question. I think that day I was looking for questions that would trigger some of these things. I couldn't find those questions. So today I had to list them.
Okay, but the last, you said all of us should log out so that if you don't know where to end the meeting or something or to upload.
Yeah, that was the problem. I was looking for how to end the meeting and it was not working. So when all of you left, I couldn't still end it. But this thing is exactly what we are doing. Although maybe it's like we did much explanation of getting
It's
trying to
okay,
explain
it's
the
okay.
concepts. Hmm.
It's okay. But you upload this one, right?
Hopefully, I will upload this.
Okay.
So we are follow do we I don't know if we get an idea of what is happening, just what's happening, not like getting all of them. Do you understand what is happening here?
I think it's the same procedure, but we are just nesting the
Yeah,
query.
yeah. You know, for other ones we used to do, the ones we started with, our relationship used to just be a table that is like this kind of relationship. We don't used to have an intermediate table. So we just used to have the previous ones we did. So this one now is telling you when you have to pick something or confirm something from, this is like the fourth table or the third table, how to move still on your relationship. The same thing you used to do in your join, you can do with just an in operator. So this is a multi, it has a more subqueries. So now, are we fine? Because I want to do this and I think this one is a bit, this one is like this too. So can someone try here?
But we need to check the relationship, the table.
Yeah, it's still on, we are still on recipes. So show me the recipes that have beef or garlic. You know, I had wanted you guys to dig around these databases and be familiar with them. So which of them have so we are going to test if it's here or here. We can just say select asterisk from ingredients class.
So do we need to check each table to know the one that has the beef?
Yeah, because we are not that familiar with the table. To know the nature of what they have there. So this one has meat, vegetables. It's been long I use these tables. So you can just dig around, but if you know your database very well, like your ability to write good queries lies on how well you know your database. Apart from knowing the schemas, if you are working with the database constantly, you should be able. So I think it's not there. I am suspecting ingredients, so we can just say ingredients because we are looking for the one that has a beef so that we know where we stop. So this one has beef, onion, water, and I think it's here. So that way we are moving from here. Come back. We are simply moving from here and stopping here. So can someone try? If you mimic what we did here, you should be able to do that. Show me the recipes that have beef or garlic. I should do it.
But we don't know the one that
Select recipes dot select recipes dot we can just say select asterisk from recipes, right? We can say asterisk from recipes. So we are just needing recipes where, so someone should try where we want to move from here to here. What are we going to do? Sorry. This one doesn't appear. So where was someone should try? You know why I'm using asterisk?
Yeah.
Okay, where was? We want to connect this table to this table using a subquery. So what happens? How do we connect these two tables?
The ingredient table, right?
Yeah. Okay, let me zoom in for this. We want to move here. This is where we are getting. So how do we move from here? We are selecting asterisk from recipes. How do we move from here to here? Recipes dots. What is their relationship? Always look out for that their relationship. What's their relationship? Where what? Help me now.
Are you talking about recipe, ingredients, and recipe?
Look at the questions now. The question says, show me recipes that have beef or garlic.
ọkọ mi yóò ṣe dúdú
So that
kẹfà
means
yà
we
wọn
are
padà
selecting
kí ló
from
fẹ́
recipes.
bí èṣù kan máa yà wá tí èṣù ò bá yà wá káńjọ̀nù máa yà wá ọkọ ní yóò ṣe dúdú
Sorry, who
kẹfà
is
yà.
But
that
what I'm
now?
saying,
Who is that? Recipes. But look at what we are doing. Let me just list it so you know what we are doing. Recipes. But I can leave it as title, right? From recipes. So we are showing recipes that have beef or garlic. From what we confirmed, we saw that that kind of this thing is contained in our is contained here. So it's contained here. So this is where we are traveling to. In order to move, do we really understand what I'm doing with this where?
No,
Where
because we are not seeing the table.
this is the table now.
This is only ingredient table.
This is recipe table. Can you see recipe table?
Yeah, we can see recipe table. But it said I
We
have
are
beef and garlic.
yeah, okay. Now, before we went, I just did something like select up now this select asterisk from from ingredients.
Ingredients.
Yeah, and it gave us that kind of resource sets. So we now have beef, onion, water, whatever. These are some ingredients, but we know ingredients is related to recipe table, but we have an intermediate table. So in order to move, the way we used to travel when we are doing our join is still exactly what we are going to be doing. So what do we do? What connects them? Where recipes dot recipe ID is in the list of what selects. We are now going to select
Recipe ingredients. That's recipe ID.
yes, recipe ingredients dot recipe ID. So this one now from recipe. This query now returns some list. Look at what it's giving us. It's giving us recipe ID, but where it's taking this recipe IDs is from this table, right? So we want to ensure that what we are having, because that's the way to connect them, what we are having, this one is contained here. If it's not contained there, you should drop it. It shouldn't go. Like we could have a recipe ID that is not here. So that's what that filter is doing. But because we have filtered for this and we have only this, we still want to filter further before getting to this table. So that filter is going to be applied to this one. So we do what? Where recipe ingredients dot what? We have moved from this to this. We have to move from this to this. Dot what? What's connecting these two?
Ingredients ID.
Yeah. So ingredient ID is in. We are going to select another list.
Ingredients dot ingredient ID.
Yeah. So you're getting it now. Dot ingredients ID. So we've gotten to our destination, but it's left for us to confirm from ingredients. So left for us is to confirm, to ensure that it's just for beef and then. So we are already in this table from what we've done. This will return some values from ingredient. It's returning values of ingredients ID from ingredient table, right? But we only want to return those values that matches our ingredient name as beef, right? So we are going to say where ingredients dot ingredients name is in, they said beef and the what? Beef or garlic. Yeah.
So can we use comma in place of or?
Yes, now remember our this thing before now. If you don't want to do it, yeah, if you don't want to do it this way, if you want to do or differently, that means after writing this query, you're going to write exactly this same long stuff Like after writing this, if you want to use that your or, remember we said we can have list. We talked about list now. If you don't want to do it that way, if you want to use or, then you are going to use this, right? And write
Okay.
exactly this same query
Oh,
again for the other
got it.
one. Yeah. So after writing this, when you're done, you write or and write that this thing again and come out. So it's not better for us. So we just use in. We know what our in operator does. It's just list. Our in
Yes,
operator
see.
accounts for list, and that's the list we'll be using. So in beef, comma, that was garlic, right? You might not get everything now, but when you go, so once you're done writing that kind of query, you start closing them one after the other. If you watch, each time I close, it will highlight the one I'm closing. If I'm here,
Okay.
yeah, so that's just a tip for you to know how many you've closed. This one now, once I close now, you see it highlights this to show that this is the one I'm closing. You can close it anyhow. Closing here, you can close this, this. So each of them, you see how it's moving. It's still fine if you don't want to have a, but me, I like writing it that way for some reasons. That's how it's done in other programming. In some programming languages like Python, if you don't, so this is that's it. So if we run this, you understand how we built this kind of query. It shows us that Irish stew, garlic, green beans, pico, and whatever these four B5 are the ones that contain beef or garlic. Beef or garlic. So anyone that has beef qualifies. Anyone that has garlic is qualified.
But what of the Irish stew, number one?
Number one.
How do we know? How do we confirm? Just like a positive result to show that Irish stew and asparagus belongs to one
Yeah.
of the two.
If you want to confirm, you have to perform a join and join. You have to perform some joins and join this
Oh,
table.
sorry, sir.
And
Because with this result now, in as much
mm,
garlic and beef is not showing on the list,
the
the table is so it can be queried. Okay, why the name beef and garlic is not
yeah.
displayed? So that's why I'm saying
Now,
that.
I understand I understand where you're worried, and I'm also worried. Like, it's a very valid question. This is their preparation, just to because if we want to do that, we are going to write a join to confirm that the same tree we followed. You are going to now do a join. If you want to be sure, I am going to do asterisk or whatever and add a join. So I'm going to do comma. Uh, that was in ingredients, right? Ingredients dot ingredient name. But if you want to do this from this join, you are going to start performing a long join, or let's just confirm that so that you can be happy. Join. Let me bring our table back just for you to confirm. Uh, mm, okay, so we are here. Wait, stop now. So we are going to do this join. We are going to join our recipe ingredients recipe uh, ingredients dot what's the relationship dot recipe ID equals recipes dot recipe ID join mm, ingredients um This was ingredient ID, right? It was the recipe plus ingredient ID. So with this now, you know why we did that? Because I wanted to include this column so you can be sure what we are claiming is true. So let me make this smaller so we can execute that. So when we run this now, you know what? Let me just reduce this to recipes dot recipe ID because it's going to be comma recipes dot title. So if we run this now, we can now be able to confirm what's happening. We have messed somewhere up. Ingredients name. We said the question says show me. No, we only had I'm coming. Recipes. Join recipe ingredients. Can I help me and trace where I possibly have a problem?
Yeah, big one. Oh, sorry, can't we run two different queries? One is showing the name of the ingredient, like their preparation, what are included. Then we run another query. We write another query, then we run the two together. I think that one should also help.
It won't give us what you want. It won't give us what. Oh, wait. We are running. Okay, we ran a different query. Was this what I ran? No, don't mind. No, don't mind. Don't mind. So recipes does ingredients on recipe ingredient on recipe ID plus recipes. Giant ingredients. I can't see you. I did not see you. Where recipe? Where recipes?
I think the last where has reduced the number of ingredients name that should appear.
We stood that. I can't see which where?
The where closed. Here we said ingredients name
I think
beef and garlic.
I altered here. I think I altered here. You know why? Like what you asked now, if we can't write it differently. If we write it differently, it's not going to give us because we want to write each recipe and match it with the corresponding ingredient name, right?
Yes.
So this is fine. I'm coming. This is fine, right? So each of the recipes is showing us the ingredient that is used.
Ingredients, yeah.
We have beef, rice, we have all of this. So let's rewrite you help me now. Let's rewrite our where clause. That's our condition. But this one now, because you wanted to confirm what they said they are. So where was, so we are going to use where. Let me increase it like someone said. We should always increase it. So where recipes dot what? Recipe ID.
Recipe ID.
And select recipe. Please, someone should. Can you mute your mic? Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, no, I mean the person that we are hearing from the background. You are not the person now. From
I think I am.
okay. Ingredients were recipe ingredients. Ingredients. Select ingredients first. From where ingredients first. That was the what? Beef and garlic, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we start closing them. I think that's all. So we are going to run this. I believe this is fine. This is returning way more results. All right, so it's fine, but look at what's happening. What we have is fine, but I'm seeing something. What we have is fine. What we only have is if you look at it, you see that onion is not supposed to be there. Onion is not supposed to be there.
But I think if you check the preparation, the ingredients, the column name for ingredients, this Irish stew, it has either beef or garlic, because there is one column that you displayed then.
Okay, yeah. There's something I'm seeing. Look at what's happening. This is repeated. You understand? Because I think maybe because of the way the design of the database, there's a way the database is designed. So this Irish stew has beef, but because of the design of the table, somewhere, somehow, there's a relationship that didn't enforce. That is now making it return because this Irish stew is telling us that it has beef, it has onion, it has potatoes, it has carrots. So it's now listing all the ingredients that are used here. Yeah, so that's why we have this longer